Southark Spotlight is brought to you by Maxwell Hardwood Flooring. Maxwell Hardwood Flooring, located in Monticello, has been producing quality, solid, and engineered hardwood flooring for over 28 years. The company and sister companies, Ouachita Hardwood and Townsend Inc. in Warren, are proud to be providing American-made flooring to distributors and retailers from coast to coast while serving our local communities right here at home. Maxwell Hardwood Flooring, your best start for a great finish. Today's guest is Jason Wallace of the Bradley County Sheriff's Department. He was kind enough to sit down with us to explain a little more about his role as Warren School Resource Officer.
I am Bradley County Sheriff Deputy / SRO, which is the School Resource Officer. I report to both the superintendent and the sheriff, but my direct, immediate, everyday supervisor is Brian Cornish, the superintendent of schools. Oh, my background. It's a long one. You got that much time? No. I started out in law enforcement in 1991. I never wanted to be a police officer. I got married to a wonderful lady who I'm still madly in love with. She's still my girlfriend after 32 years. But my dad was the chaplain of the jail, and he worked for the mayor. You might know the mayor back then. And he worked at the city pool, did summer league baseball, and with his connection with the mayor, he found there was a need for police officers, and he approached me and he told me, you know, hey Jay, you might need to think about being a policeman. Never thought about being a policeman. Matter of fact, made a joke, you have the right to remain silent. And I'm like, Dad, I don't even own a gun. I'm a big softy. Why would you want? He said, they need some people like you up there. And so I went to my wife, who thought I did everything my father said. He said, you're going to do it too, aren't you? I said, we're going to pray like we do and ask God, and we're going to see. We're going to see if that door is open, and that's what I'm supposed to do. And that was 32 years ago. And I started out at the Warren PD. Worked there for about 6 to 8 months, went to the academy, and took a visit up to Fayetteville to visit my brother, and went on campus, and they gave me a tour. I talked to one of the sergeants, and they told me they wanted me to be up there. So I left Warren PD, went to Fayetteville for 6 years on the campus. As a matter of fact, I was on campus while our superintendent was playing football up there. Came back down to the South and became an officer at UAM. Came back to Warren PD and ended up at Bradley County Sheriff's Department. And that's the last place I was an officer. Been there between 12, 14 years. I started this current school year, the first day of school. The sheriff had been trying to get me to be the resource officer for about a year and a half or so. He's very persistent. I had moved to Texas, South Texas, and was doing very well down there. And he called me and said, the school needs a resource officer, and you're the guy, the only person I could think of that I would want to be the resource officer. And after he tried many, many, many times, I guess the planets aligned, and we found that it was time for us to come back to Warren. Very good decision, and we haven't regretted it. Love the people here. And the response and the reaction from the community was fantastic. Well, I start out, most of the time I go to the high school and get there before the buses and try to get to the cafeteria where the students arrive, make sure everything starts out right in the day, meet the kids in the hallway when the bell rings, and make sure the hallways are clear. And then sometimes I stay there for a few periods or I go to the other schools because it's only one resource officer. So sometimes I go to the middle school in Brunson, or I go see some of the kids at ABC, or I end up at Eastside and go talk to some of the children in the classroom, because they too need to know that they have a resource officer available to them. Well, mainly it's only being that one officer, because sometimes the middle school will call me for an incident, or Eastside will call me for an incident, or something may happen at the high school, and just being all those different places at the same time. And sometimes I have to put one off for the other, but I really enjoy the kids. I really enjoy the faculty and staff. They're good people over there that really have a heart to teach the kids and get them graduated. Well, this community has always been kind of close to my heart because of the way they responded when we moved here from California way back in the 70s. They accepted us with open arms. It seemed like we were made to be here. We fit in. And just like I said, with the reception that we received on the way back, I had so many people. It didn't matter what nationality, or they just were loving and were genuinely happy to see that my family was back in the community and ready to serve. And they were overwhelmed. The response from the community was amazing. My wife and I felt love the first day we got here. We've always worked in the community. My dad was always working with children. We had a homework house through our church. And so a lot of the people really knew us from helping with the children. I've also had foster kids, both through the court system and without the court system. So I have about 20 kids that call me dad. And when we got back, the community accepted us so well and so warmly, we wondered why we left. Well, one of my duties is traveling to other sporting events. Sometimes I go to home games, sometimes I go to out of town games. And I didn't realize that I was going to enjoy it as much. I knew I loved sports. I knew I loved the children, but I did not know I was going to enjoy seeing them compete and how much of a fan I would become. Even with soccer, I've never went to a soccer game before. And just learning the game and watching the kids compete and seeing them get disappointed, but then struggle some more to try to win the game. And I found myself having to hold myself back from cheering while I'm standing there on duty. It's really awesome. And I'm making a lot of new friends with the young adults. The main thing that I really am glad that I am the liaison between law enforcement and the community, especially with the kids, because there's such a bad stigma with law enforcement now all across the country. And I think it's vitally important that the youth of today, that the children that we take care of understand that we are here for them. We are not against them. That we are public servants. We're here to protect and serve. Sometimes when I'm teaching a law enforcement class, I tell the students that sometimes people think of us as a necessary evil. They really don't like us, but they need us at important and fearful and dangerous times. But I tell the students that we are to change that persona. And with my opportunity with the kids from ABC school all the way up to high school, is to let them know that we're people too. And this is a job, and that we are trying to do the best job that we can with what we have available. Some departments don't have as much. Some departments have a lot of funds, a lot of equipment, and I just want to let them know that we're people and that we have families and that we want to be respected in the community and that we're just like them. And sometimes, especially the kids, don't realize you're just like them. One thing I would like to say is that from the time we moved here in the mid 70s to the time to current, that the community is getting more diverse, and I am seeing a change in the old time South mentality, which is a great thing. A lot of it is being brought on by the young people, but I see older heads as well as young people understanding that people are people and that if you're in the same community, you have to learn to work together. And you'll find out that our differences aren't always a bad thing. They're just something you don't understand. But once we get to know that different people are raised different ways, and it takes a full community to build our community. It's really important. And I think Bradley County and Warren, and we're growing in that respect. Do we have a ways to go? Sure we do. But that's a lot of places in this country. But Bradley County is making great steps. And it's starting at that school. I really can say that the faculty and staff love the students and have their best interests at heart. They really want them to succeed.